Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV and to another episode of Barcast Daily. I'm excited for today's match. We're featuring someone who hasn't been on the channel in a little bit, so let's go ahead, get into the match, and I'll introduce our players. Spawning on the right side of Comet Catcher, playing as a blue pieces, it's ZLO. And his opponent, spawning on the left side of the map, playing as the red pieces, it's Raghna. So welcome back, ZLO, to the channel. Hopefully I'll get you on a co-cast here sometime within the coming week, so if you're all excited about that, let me know. We're going to have a chance to sit down with ZLO, ask him some questions, perhaps look at one of his previous games on the ladder, and yeah, just have another nice little chat. So looking forward to it. And Raghna, thanks for sitting down with me the other day. That was a nice little insightful chat we had. Really appreciated that opportunity, learned a lot. And here we are on Comet Catcher, and this should be a decent macro game. Hopefully we see what these players have in store for us, how to play Comet Catcher in these later parts of the mid game, or even approaching the late game perhaps. We'll have to take a look and see where this game devolves to. I mean, it could be like a low eco game. They're just punching each other back and forth. No one has a real advantage, so we'll see. And interestingly enough, we have ZLO's going for bot labs here, so don't really see this too often on Comet Catcher, and I want to say bots have been like coming back in favor or something like that. I've just been noticing more and more pros kind of trying or experimenting with bots here in the game. Perhaps they never fell out of fashion and I'm just a little biased. But anyways, here we are. ZLO going for these Cortex bots, while his opponent Raghna going for the armed vehicle play. So really interesting unit positioning here from Raghna. Going for that 3-mech spawn and then just staying in the main base with the commander and finally adding on this LLT in the back. So interesting play and little deviation from standard standard play or safe standard play, something like that. Meanwhile, ZLO just comfortable sitting in the main base here with his commander, adding on some more solar collectors and expanding with one construction vehicle here, or excuse me, construction bot. So I'm sure he'll be making more of these and expanding with those engineers. Meanwhile, Raghna's commander going for a little bit of a walk. You know, this is very standard play here on Comet Catcher, just capping these 3 mexes, walking down to these 2 with your commander, and then moving into the middle of the map. We'll have to take a look and see how Raghna expands and kind of take a note, perhaps. Meanwhile, almost catching this little metal extractor there. I'm not sure how that wasn't taking damage, but yeah, Raghna looking for damage with these vehicles here. Excuse me, light scouts. And almost picking off, oh, excuse me, there it is. He did take out one of these mexes and is coming back for the next one. This scout is so low on HP. We'll see if he's able to take this out. Some decent micro battles going on between both players. Looks like Raghna is making a little bit more of these scouts than you typically see. He's got 5 out on the battlefield right now. Sharking around looking for damage. I think he's going to find an additional mechs there. Meanwhile, on Raghna's side of the map, ZLO's found an opening here with these grunts, and they're going unanswered. We have a blitz finally starting to be produced here, but is he going to get one of these construction vehicles or not? Can you target this blitz as it's being produced? I've actually never seen this interaction before. So no, it rolls off with full HP, so interesting enough. Take a look on ZLO's side of the map. These scouts are still getting damaged, perhaps? Looks like that one mech was being rebuilt finally, and now that this game is stabilized, let's take a look at the statistics here. That was a pretty crazy early game, and of course both players are dead even on metal produced. We can see ZLO has 2 of these expanding engineers, 1 of these res bots going around. Perhaps that's how he was able to rebuild that mech so quickly. He's got a decent amount of grunts and rovers out here on the map. Meanwhile, Raghna doesn't have any expanding engineers on the map, is finally moving towards the middle here with his commander, and has a lot of LLTs made already. 6 LLTs, so excuse me, 5. So should see him not take any damage here for the next couple minutes in this game, you know, before the number of units get too high. And we see ZLO is spreading out all these grunts here across the map, looking for these expanding engineers. This is so aggravating. These rovers still getting damage done. This can be so tilting for me, perhaps personally, but just these cheap, fast units sneaking in, finding damage. A little bit of an engagement here in the center of the map, but yeah, look how well ZLO's like spreading out these grunts here. He's looking for any kind of run-bys. He's got this perfect radar here on the top and already has these grunts placed in position to catch any unit movement on the north. Meanwhile, ZLO kind of punching back, finding a little counter damage with his own scouts, res scouts. That has to be triggering. And meanwhile here in the bottom part of the map, we have a little bit of a scuffle, these blitzes versus grunts, and this is where this separates the men from the boys here is, can you keep these grunts at distance here and, you know, get the value you need to trade efficiently against these fast-moving blitzes. As this game scales up and we have more and more of these blitzes on the map in tight formations, it can be so difficult to kind of predict their movements and get ahead of them. We can see just how dangerous, just how dangerous this situation can be if you kind of misstep a little bit. So Raghna moving in here, looking for damage, takes out one construction bot and a radar there and just kind of pulls away. He sees his units are almost nearly surrounded by these grunts, so doesn't want to be caught out of position there or, you know, take a bad trade. So just moves away, shaves off a little bit of those expanding build power here of our blue player. Meanwhile, Raghna's commander is pushing into the middle of the map in classic Raghna fashion, is adding on LLTs and radars as he goes, just capping these mexes. And let's look back at the statistics here and the main bases. So both players still dead even on metal produced, dead even on income right now. We see ZLO has about a 100 energy lead here. I'm not sure how he was able to kind of get that. And we have a little bit of an engagement here in the center. Looks like ZLO's found the commander of Raghna and is kind of backing away. He doesn't want to fight against all that attacking power right there. And has a couple grunts on Raghna's side of the map, kind of looking for damage. He's going to take a couple pot shots at this construction vehicle, kind of get that down below 50% health, and has not been able to do any kind of additional damage. There's a lot of well-positioned LLTs on Raghna's side of the board, so kind of hard to get damage done. We have some blitzes moving to the bottom right, and I think they're going to find this couple undefended mexes here. One LLT is not enough to stop 6 blitzes, so ZLO's trying to get into position with these grunts here, and we'll see how well he's able to kind of micro against this. One blitz goes down, still have six kind of moving towards the main base here, and yeah, still these mexes continuing to be vulnerable. So 2 picked off so far, there's 3, 4 mexes going down, and finally these blitzes should get cleaned up, but that bought Raghna all the time in the world to get another formation of blitzes up here, moving in this middle side of the board perhaps, and should be getting some more damage. Looks like those blitzes finally go down on the south side of the map. This construction bot's going to go down again, along with the res bot here. So great damage so far. He's not done. Looks like ZLO's fed up with it. He's bringing his commander up, gets a couple D-guns off, takes out his own metal extractor, but takes out several of those blitzes in the process. And we see another res bot goes down to the blitzes of Raghna. And there's action all over the map right now. I'm trying my best to kind of keep up with it. We have more mexes going down for ZLO. And is just doing his best job, you know, trying to take control of this board here. We can look at his map control. Do this for both players. We see ZLO finally stepping out of the main base with his commander. Trying to recapture this position here just north of his main base. Has another grave robber doing a great job kind of rezzing these units on his side of the map. And he's got still a couple grunts somehow spread out, keeping track of Raghna's position here on the board. We see how kind of not awkward this building. I guess he doesn't have what you would typically construe like his half of the map. He's just trying to lock up these this position here in the center. So both players have kind of showing their own play styles here. See 3 blitzes in the back continuing to get damage, and I really like this kind of little outpost here from ZLO. He's got a couple of LOTs, a couple grunts, and a radar in the area. He's going to let him keep track of these scouts and blitzes, trying to find damage on his side of the map. A little bit of a engagement here in the middle. These blitzes shaving off these grunts, trying to sneak by, trying to keep tabs on Raghna's position here. And we see ZLO's got the majority of his army here in the middle spread out in a line, so really just trying to prevent any of these like big run-bys from coming through and getting damage. And look how good Raghna is at getting damage. He's got such low HP blitzes scattered all across the back line here as low, continuing to find damage, sneaking in, getting another mech. This is just these guys are so good at harassing, it's insane. Just kind of getting the most damage they can out of these units, finding the most value. And let's take a look at the statistics here. We see Raghna's got a little bit of an advantage here, 1.5k mass ahead, 10 minutes into the game. That's about 15 tanks, 14 tanks. And that could be sitting right here in the middle of the board. We see an engagement, perhaps. ZLO stepping forward, making a line with these grunts here. Is he going to take an engagement? Both armies are getting closer. See ZLO kind of stepping forward, moving back. Neither player truly committing to an attack here in the middle of the board, just kind of posturing. We see ZLO slipping by some of these rezzed units here. Is he going to be able to find additional damage? Meanwhile, I mean, there's so much action all across the map. We have a big group of these scouts kind of pressing forward, trying to find some additional damage. I think Raghna's going to find some here. Could this construction vehicle go down again for the third time? Looks like it is. We have some blitzes moving into position. This is like just a nightmare for this res bot, or excuse me, construction bot, being res 3 times just to be killed every time. What a lifestyle. And this game isn't quite slowing down. I mean, Raghna's posturing. He's looking for damage. He has a lot of blitzes here. 17 blitzes in the middle of the map. But has yet to kind of secure these peripheral expansions. But he has so many LLTs. 32 LLTs here in the center. And how do you find damage? Like, how do you harass this? I mean, it's just a wall of turrets protecting this commander. So at some point, ZLO's going to have to make a move or transition into tanks or T2. And we see his solution is aircraft here. So interesting enough, I guess he's going to be moving into the shurikens perhaps, or some bombers. We'll take a look and see Raghna's main base. He's sitting on this one vehicle plant. He's got a lot of build power, trying to increase his, E economy here. And is finally expanding to this bottom mid side. So see both players getting closer and closer to splitting the map here. Units all over the place, movement everywhere right now. We have some scouts on the bottom side. They should be cleaned up by these grunts here of ZLO. We have a lot of blitzes here in the center, kind of parrying this movement here from ZLO, moving to the top side with another grunt army, 25 grunts, 1 blitz. Meanwhile, on the south side, is ZLO going to press in? I mean, there's so many LLTs everywhere now. I'm not sure, like, we'll have to take a look and see. Is he going to just not, I mean, you can just not attack, I guess, if you don't want to try and get through these units. What is the response, though? Are we going to see, like, rocket bots, perhaps? No, he's just continuing to have grunts, grave robbers, and construction bots on repeat out of this factory. So if ZLO does choose to take an engagement, he has these grave robbers ready to go, ready to get that value where they see fit. And is Raghna going to kind of pull the trigger here? He's stepping forward with these blitzes, not moving too far into ZLO's territory, and ZLO's kind of continuing to just delay this expansion as long as he can. This is really nice unit positioning. Here we see these pockets of units ZLO has kind of placed on this bottom side of the map. It's got a big army here in the middle, and just units kind of for these forward units, just keeping tabs on how far along these expansions are. And Raghna rolls forward and spots these shurikens here, and that's going to force him to immediately retreat. ZLO could be catching a couple free units here, but these blitzes can actually kill these and shoot these shurikens, so you don't have to chase them too far. Kind of got them to turn around. That's what ZLO wanted, and it's continuing to deny this expansion in the bottom side of the map. So let's take a look. ZLO's continuing to make some shurikens here. I guess this is good for now. Oh, he's catching these 2 construction vehicles on the bottom side of the map. That's a great catch right there. So really slowing down that expansion and getting that, not free damage, but decent damage. ZLO looking for some more damage here, and he spots these construction vehicles. He's going to kind of force and commit an attack here. He's moving really far forward into these blitzes here. And that's going to be a good trade for Raghna. See, he's moved into air of his own, so he's got some fighters out on the map. And has moved into a couple medium tanks, so we have a lot of medium tanks here in the center of the map, 14. Moving forward, just being a kind of a line in the sand here. You have to either attack into it or move around it, and they do decent splash damage if I'm not mistaken, so they have good range, decent splash, and that can make engaging with these Tech 1 bots a little bit tricky here. ZLO hasn't decided on the, kind of teching just quite yet, and he's continuing to stay on this Tech 1. Raghna escorting these T1 tanks with his fighters. We see those blitzes came back on the side of the map, so they're gonna get kind of overwhelmed here by the grunt count here by ZLO. It's gonna force Raghna to retreat on this bottom side, and he's pulling back in the middle with these tanks. So great job ZLO, kind of standing her ground there, I suppose. Or I mean neither player really committing to an attack right there. So both these players, I guess, conservative. I mean, I know Raghna will just kind of eke out an economic advantage if he can. And he's up to what, 100 turrets? 50 turrets here, 50 LLTs in the center, so really just trying to get as much mass on the board as possible, I assume. ZLO still somehow finding one mech here in the sea of turrets. One of our observers drawing his smiley face here in the board. Gotta add my little contribution there, and yeah, so where is this next engagement gonna happen? Either on the north or the south side. We see ZLO finally moving into some of these thugs here, so that's gonna let him press against these medium tanks, kind of stand his ground in a long contested battle. He's got a couple anti-air bots out, protecting his army from any kind of gunships or just these fighter screen we see Raghna coming up with, and he's massing bombers at the moment, so we'll have to take a look and see if we can catch that bombing run. He decides, where is he going to attack? See this little Resbot army getting cleaned up here by the blitzes. That's a nice little catch there. That's about, 1,200 mass down the drain here for ZLO. So, and representing not an advantage in the game, but he's just kind of been waiting for Raghna to make a mistake, I suppose, on his side of the map so he can kind of steal some of these tanks or blitzes, but Raghna is just not giving him the opportunity. He's moving forward with this kind of air squadron here. I'm not sure if he really has to attack. Yeah, deciding not to move in, or he's just grouping up his units for a proper run. So deciding to pull the trigger. I'm not sure if he has a kind of an idea of where this main base is. We'll take a look at these bombing runs, these commands he's issuing here. Just going for going in blind, I suppose. I mean, he knows where some of this infrastructure is at, and oh, that was a nice little control right there. He has a small group of bombers come in initially to kind of give the ones behind him a better sense or idea of where to attack. So knocking out a lot of the build power here, taking out one of the factories. And Raghna is still not done getting damage, so I mean, this T2 factory is at threat. It was so close to being completed, and all this build power goes down in the main base of ZLO. So really effective bombing run here, and these Shurikens can't even do anything. I mean, they can't target these air units, and this is a lot of damage right here. We have a couple of these anti-air bots doing what they can. But yeah, those bombers got so much damage, took out a lot of energy, one factory, so much build power. And this whole time, Raghna's been massing medium tanks here, so he's up to 26 medium tanks. ZLO feels like he has to make a move here, so he's punching in with his grunt army. We have 6 blitzes, 44 grunts, rolling through, punching through this top side of the map, and we'll have to take a look and see how much damage he can get done. ZLO's stepping forward on this bottom side of the map, moving into his opponent here. And these medium tanks were in position, so they are already on top of all these grunts here. This is not what you want to see. You have to kind of rotate around these units to kind of get the most damage done. And we see Raghna already has T2 on the board, so transitioning into these Jaguars. He's got T2 units already on the board here, upgrading his economy, I'm sure. Does he have a T2 tech constructor somewhere? I don't see one just yet. But that's the game. ZLO calls GG. That is a tough game here, and can just see perhaps why bots are not unfavored versus vehicles, but it's just like this inevitability, I suppose. Like, I mean, look at all these LLTs. That's just crazy. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this cast. If you like to see these daily videos or want to see more like it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next replay.